Okay, everyone, that clickety clack sound means it's time for TV Oblivion, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 13, season one. Today's date is August 12th, 2022. And thank you for joining me today. I have an interesting show coming up. Here is today's lineup. From the 1950s, I will talk about the TV show Racket Squad. From the 1960s, it's the TV sitcom Mrs. G Goes to College. From the 1970s, this is the children's TV program Curiosity Shop. And from the 1980s is the TV show Aloha Paradise. From the 1990s, it's the TV drama Homefront. From the 2000s is the Lone Gunmen, that is a spinoff of the X-Files. And from 2010 is Are You There, Chelsea? That was a sitcom that starred it's from Chelsea Handler. She created that, co-created, I guess. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Pillsbury Bundt Cake. And here's a commercial from 1973. I love cake. I really do. Especially Bundt Cake. So sit back and enjoy, everyone, and relax. Here we go.
Pillsbury Bundt Cakes. Fancy cakes made easy. Watch that ring of macaroon. Now you see it. Now you don't. But slice the Bundt cake and there's the macaroon inside. Chocolate macaroon is one of 5 Bundt brand ring cakes from Pillsbury. Cake, filling, and glaze mix all in one box. So you don't have to be a fancy baker to bake a fancy cake. Bundt Cakes from Pillsbury.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Pillsbury Bundt Cake Mix. That was from 1973. Like I said before, I love cake. I still do. Bundt cake, I don't know if you can still. I haven't seen the cake mixes for Bundt cake. I don't remember. I see regular cakes, but it was very popular in the 70s. My favorite is chocolate, white, vanilla, spice, lemon. Now they come out in red. Red velvet didn't exist back then, so I love red velvet. Let's see what else. Carrot cake, etc., etc. One thing I want to point out is I don't know if you remember the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding that came out in 2002, I think. 2003, 2002. There's a scene where the two families meet, and the groom's family brought over a bundt cake, and the mother, Leni Kazan's character, can't pronounce bunt. She goes bunt, bunt, bunt. I know Greek people; they don't know how to talk. They try, but it was hilarious. I don't know why this scene stands out. And I still laugh about it. It's a great movie. I love it. The second movie was good too. They're making a third one. I think they finished filming. They wrapped it up. They filmed it in Greece. Can't wait to see that. Yeah. I heard it was filmed in Corfu. Greeks know it as kick it up. So I'm looking forward to it. That'll be a lot of fun. Okay. At the beginning of the show, I read the lineup for episode 13. So I'm going to get started right now. First show coming up is Racket Squad from the 1950s. Oh, I remember this show. I never seen it because I wasn't born yet. So I'll give you a little history of the show. Excuse me. Here we go. It ran for 3 seasons. It premiered on June 7th, 1951, and last aired September 28th, 1953. And it was a half-hour show. And it was originally produced in 1950, and then CBS picked it up. And it was filmed at the Hal Roach Studios. You remember Hal Roach? He created, from Little Rascals and Laurel and Hardy, and that was in Culver City, California. The sponsor of the show was Philip Morris cigarettes. Also, Lyell Lucy sponsored that for many seasons. And it was a very popular show. And the plot was um, it showed methods and sneaky stuff that con men and bunco artists do. I don't know if people say bunco artists today. I don't think so. And so they had a good cast. The lead actor of the show was Reed Hadley, and he was Captain John Braddock. And he's very good. Not a famous actor. He did some movies, did some television, and at the end of the show, he gave the television viewers advice on how to avoid to be a victim, which was very smart. So it's also true to this day. And the plots of the show were actual case films from police departments, biggest business organizations from the United States. And let's see, they had a lot of guest stars. One particular was Hugh Beaumont, excuse me, played Ward Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver. And there was Jackie Coogan, there was Will Gear, Jackie Coogan from the Addams Family, Will Gear, Grandpa Walton from the Waltons, Noel Neal, Lois Lane from Adventures of Superman, and also from Superman, Robert Shane, who played Inspector Henderson. Okay. Right now, I'm going to play. It's not the theme song. It's like it sounds like at the end of the show. So I'm going to play that now, and that is Reed Hadley speaking as Captain John Braddock. So here you go.
What you're about to see is a real-life story, taken from the files of the police racket and bunco squads, business protective associations, and similar sources all over the country. It is intended to expose the confidence game, the carefully worked out frauds by which confidence men take more money each year from the American public than all the bank robbers and thugs with their violence.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed that little audio clip of Racket Squad. I like to make a correction. I don't think this was at the end of the show. It sounds like from the beginning, so I wasn't sure. I saw a couple episodes on YouTube. It's not like fast-paced action, like that. It was very slow, and but I like it that way. It's very nice. And let's see. After Reed Hadley starred in the show, he went on to another show on CBS. It was called The Public Defender, and that ran about a season. And someday I'll talk about that show. And let's see. Okay. What I said about when he spoke, it was the prologue to the camera. So that was in the beginning. But here's the epilogue of the show. I'm going to read it right now. It says like this. I'm closing this case now, or rather the courts will, but there will be others, because that's the way the world is built. There are people who can slap you on the back with one hand and pick your pocket with the other, and it could happen to you. Oh, very true. It is on DVD. It's about 11 volumes. I don't know if all the episodes are there. I'm not sure. You can find the show on YouTube. You can find some episodes there at your convenience if you'd like. You can watch that. Let's see. Reed Hadley, like I said, he did some acting. And he passed away on December 11, 1974. And after he did The Public Defender, he started some shows, and then, then he just retired, I guess. So that's good. But, a lot of people, he's practically forgotten. A lot of people don't remember him, which is a shame. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about the sitcom from the 1960s, Mrs. G Goes to College. Well, this is an interesting show. This show starred Gertrude Berg, famous for Molly Goldberg from the Goldbergs. Very old show, very old show. I'm going to talk about that show someday. I find it fascinating. And this premiered also at that lovely network, CBS, on October 4th, 1961, which is my birthday. And but I was born 2 years later, and it ended April 5th, 1962. It was a 30-minute sitcom. And let's see, the plot of the show was it was a older woman that she wanted to go back to college. And like most people, they want to finish or they want to fulfill their lives. And and her character's thing was Sarah Green. Now, actually, this is not her first appearance on the show. She appeared on another sitcom called Hennessy, and that starred Jackie Cooper and Abby Dalton. And it was earlier in the year. So the rest of the cast was this is kind of funny. You have Sir Cedric Hardwicke. His character's name was Professor Creighton, and character actress Mary Wicks. You've seen her all over the place. She was on the I Love Lucy show. I think Here's Lucy. Yeah, she was on Here's Lucy. Yeah, she's most famous as I think she was. She did one of the voices in the Disney animated movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think that was her last role because she died in 1995. Also in the cast was Skip Ward, and the one who played Gertrude Berg's daughter was Marion Ross, and she was in there for a few episodes. And also, the professor's wife was played by Anita Anita. We all know as Helen Crump from the Andy Griffith Show. And also in a few episodes was an actress named Karen Cuppison. And that was the daughter of Irv Cuppison. He wrote a column in Chicago, I think the Tribune, or sometimes I think the Tribune. I forgot. Yeah, I should do about him and my other podcast, Spanish Chicago Stories. And very pretty girl, but unfortunately she was murdered in 1963, and the case was unsolved to this day. So that's I had no idea about that until the E! Network ran the E! True Hollywood Stories, and ran a story about that, which I found it interesting, So that became unsolved to this day, like I said before. And let's see what else. So it didn't do well in the ratings, and it was sponsored by General Foods because it went up against TV show Hawaiian Eye on ABC and Perry Como's Craft Music Hall on NBC. So after 13 episodes, they changed the name from Mrs. G Goes to College to the Gertrude Berg Show. They did not much change. Gertrude Berg was a very interesting actress. She was in a radio, I think, on Broadway. Her radio show, The Goldbergs, was very popular, and then she passed away on September 14th, 1966. And you can find some surviving episodes of The Goldbergs on television on DVD. Not many, because a lot of them were erased, and that's how the practice was back in the early days. So I'm going to play the theme song for Mrs. G Goes to College, and so sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Mrs. G Goes to College. Um, it's not on the show is not on DVD, but this show aired on a cable channel. Let's see what I forgot the name. Yeah, from Get TV, and I don't know if it's still on. I don't think so. Aired about 5 years ago. I wish I'd watched it, but I did find a couple episodes on YouTube, and I find the show very charming. It really was. Gertrude Berg was excellent. Typical Jewish mother. I know some Greek mothers like that, but she cared about her family, and she was very, her heart was in the right place, but she could drive you crazy. It reminds me of Ida Morgenstern from Rhoda. so, hopefully someday it'll come out on DVD. If it does, I will buy it. I really would. Okay. Next up from the 1970s is the Curiosity Shop. This was a very interesting show, and let's see, it premiered on September 2nd, 1971, ended January 8th, 1972, and it only ran for 17 episodes. It was an educational show geared at children. It was the executive producer was Chuck Jones, who did Looney Tunes from Bugs Bunny and from Warner Brothers, and the show was sponsored by Kellogg's. And the plot of the show was there were 3 children, very nosy kids, 2 boys and a girl, and each week they would visit a shop and they had puppets and gadgets, and they were discovering interesting things about science, nature, history. I loved, and I watched the show when it aired. I loved it. It was wonderful. And it ran for an hour, and it covered a specific theme. There was a plot. Like, for example, I'll read off the plot sometimes. Clothing, music, dance, the weather, the 5 senses, space, time, rules, flight, dolls. They had et cetera, et cetera. And so you can't find it on, there's no episodes survive, except there was some material from the pilot episode. So they're gone. I don't know why they did that, because that would be fascinating. If they released this on DVD, I would watch it. And let's see. Cast of characters. I will read off real quick. Let's see what we got. They had a large cast, so there was a lot of. So I'll read off right now. I'm just going to read the kids. So when I come back after I play the introduction of Curiosity Shop, I will read off the puppets. It'll be a lot of fun. And first, it was the boys were Gerard and Ralph, and it was played by John Levin and Carrie McLean. And the girls, there were 2 actresses. One was Pamela Ferdin. You've probably seen her on many TV sitcoms. She was an actress. I remember one. She was from the Brady Bunch episode where she played Lucy. And there was one where Jan and Peter went to her birthday party, and Jan wore that black wig. And she was in that. She also was in The Odd Couple. And the other actress was Geraldine Fields, and she played Cindy. Also, there was a witch, and her name was Gittel. And that was played by Barbara Minkus. And whenever the children mentioned her name, or someone say witch, even though it's not WITCH or it's WHICH, it sounds the same. It's a homonym. So she would appear. I remember that. Okay. Right now, I'm going to play the introduction of Curiosity Shop from 1971, and then when I come back, I will talk about the puppets. And there's a lot of them, and they're very interesting. So they might jog your memory if you did watch the show. So here we go.
forgot what I was going to say. Hello.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Curiosity Shop. Right now, I'm just going to read the anime, the characters. Two were animated from Chuck Jones. One was Professor S.I. Trivia. He was a bookworm who lived in a dictionary, and he would supply a definition to a word that the children were not familiar with. He would tell them. Also, there was a Monsieur Cuckoo. He had a French accent, and his catchphrase was, "That's right." So he was funny. And he always tried to catch Professor Trivia with a nosedive before the worm uh, would grab it. And he would cause to ram into the dictionary, and he always got his beak stuck in the dictionary. I remember that. That was funny. And then right now, I'm going to talk about the puppets. And the puppets were created by Bob Barker. Not Bob Barker from Price is Right. He was from the Bob Barker. No, his name was Bob Baker. Excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah. It was Bob Baker. And he was from the Bob Baker Marionette Theater in LA. And he created the puppets. And there were a lot of them, so I'm going to read them off. Before I do that, here's the voices of the puppets. One was from Mel Blanc, you all know him from Bugs Bunny. Jew Foray, Rocky the Squirrel. Don Masak from Hanna-Barbera. And Les Tremaine, you remember him from the TV show Shazam. But he was a radio actor and all that. And also Bob Holt. He was a voice actor. So here we go. There was a character called named Flip, an orange hippopotamus. And let's see, the other one was Baron Balthazar. I can't pronounce his name. He was a bearded derby. He wore a derby. He had a beard. He was a little man, and he would tell stories like that. And the other one was a kind of a weird character. It was called the Oogle, and it was he had a beak and he had a hat. You know, if you find pictures of Curiosity Shop, you might know. Next one was a onomatopoeia. I think that's a very famous, and it was a multi-legged furry beast. It had sound effects, and the other one was Woodrow the Groundhog. Often low, quiet. He did that. I remember that. Ike Mouse. You know, he would scream. Nostalgia. She was an elephant, but sometimes she forgot. But she was scared of the mouse. You know, elephants are afraid of mice. Next was Hermione Giraffe, and she was very elegant. You know, and then also there was Arthur the Aardvark. And he didn't like ants. It was unusual. And the other one was Olfactory the Bloodhound, and he sneezed all the time. He had hay fever. Also, Halcyon the Hyena. It was a green hyena. Also, Oliver Wendell Lookout. He was an owl dressed in flaky. And there was Miss Fowler. She was a flower in a pot. And there were other characters. There was a chimpanzee. His name was Darwin. He lived in a treehouse, and there was also Eunice the seal. And they had a talking computer. So if the children need to ask a question, he presented. He had a screen, so he showed movies or like footage. He would do that. Also, there was Hudson. He was just a rock. By Rock Hudson. Granny TV was an old TV set that showed like silent movies, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, you know, etc. Havenmeyer, The Helping Hand. It was an animated white glove. Reminds me of a Thing from the Addams Family. And there was Mr. Jones. He owned he was the owner of the store. And the only way he communicated, he left a message on a tape recorder. He did that. And at the end of the show, Pamela Ferdin will always say, "Goodbye, Mr. Jones, wherever you are." It reminds me of Jimmy Durante with "Goodbye, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are." Before I wrap up on this episode, there were some guest stars. There was Vincent Price. I remember this episode. He was in a Halloween episode. That was scary. And the characters dressed up as like monsters, or they dressed up. They had costumes. And it was called Where Do You Go to Get Out of a Scare? And I remember that one. Oh, that was spooky. But when the puppets appeared, they were like in the joke wall from Roland Martin's Laugh In. So that's what it reminds. Also, the pilot, it featured all the 4 actors, all the child actors, and that premiered on September 2nd, 1971. That was the pilot. And they showed the first song from Multiplication Rock. 3 is a magic number. Remember Multiplication Rock? And so it did not premiered on from Schoolhouse Rock. No, this appeared on this show, so it's interesting. Also, I remember they had a lunchbox. I remember when I was in school, one of the kids had it. It was purple and it was very colorful. Oh, it was gorgeous. You can still find it on UB. So it's a shame the show doesn't exist. Maybe there are clips on YouTube. Probably, maybe not. I don't know. But if it does come on DVD, I'll buy it. I really would. Okay. So that wraps up for Curiosity Shop. Next up, I will talk about Aloha Paradise from the 1980s. I remember the show very well. Excuse me. So here we go. This was debuted on ABC February 25th, 1981. Was canceled April 22nd, 1981. And it was like the Love Boat on an island, a very tropical island. And the cast consists of Debbie Reynolds. We all know her from Singing in the Rain and movies, television. Also Bill Daly from I Dream of Jeannie, Bob Newhart Show, Pat Klaus. She started in the show, and then she replaced Lauren Tweez on the Love Boat. And had Stephen Shortridge. He played Bo on Welcome Back, Kotter. And there was also Charles Fleischer. You know him as the voice of Roger Rabbit. He was also on Welcome Back, Kotter too. So the plot of the show was it was just like Love Boat, Fantasy Island. The guests arrived at, it was called the Paradise Village, and it was located on the coast of Kona, Hawaii. And Debbie Reynolds played Sydney Chase. She was the manager. Bill Daly was the assistant manager. Curtis Shea. Other was the Pat Klaus's character was Fran. She was the social director. Lauren Tweez. I can't pronounce the name. Stephen Shortridge was the lifeguard. Richard Bean. And I don't know what Charles Fleischer did. I forgot. Also, there was a bartender. Her name was Mokihama. I remember her. She was a very large woman, very polite. So she was Isaac, a female Hawaiian Isaac. That she was. Okay. Right now I'm going to play the theme song to Aloha Paradise. And in the theme song, I think it sounds like Steve Lawrence. Yeah, I think it was Steve Lawrence. And, because Jack Jones did the theme song to The Love Boat. So here is the opening theme song of Aloha Paradise.
Aloha. in the sky is waiting to shine on paradise. And everything you dreamed is more than it seems in paradise. Love is everywhere, there's something in the air that makes it so. Say aloha and know when you do, then you won't say goodbye again. Welcome to paradise. Could it really be that everything is so beautiful? Your troubles disappear the moment that you're here in paradise. Love is everywhere, there's something in the air that makes it so. Say aloha and know when you do, then you won't say goodbye again. Welcome to paradise, where the sun up in the sky is waiting to shine on paradise. Your troubles disappear the moment that you're here in paradise. And everything you dreamed is more than it seems in paradise. Paradise.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Aloha Paradise. I had to verify something. Yeah, it was Steve Lawrence. He sang the theme song. According to some sources, that Debbie Reynolds, when she started the show, she hated it. She thought the scripts were lousy. She was being a lady, and she said, "Oh, I can't. Oh, this is terrible." So she was relieved that this was canceled. And I think you can find some clips on YouTube, but the guest stars, they had a lot of them, just like probably the same ones that appeared on Fantasy Island and The Love Boat. They had a lot of them like that. And it was amazing. I'm trying to find one that stood out the most. Not really. So just the usual guest stars like that. And it was funny like that. So, of course, it was produced by Aaron Spelling. We all know him from The Love Boat, Dynasty, Fantasy Island, Melrose Place, 90210. TJ Hooker, he was the king. He had a lot of them. So that was great. Okay. Next up, I'm going to talk about Homefront. That don't be confused with the other show that I think it airs on aired on Showtime in 2013. This is different Homefront. So this one aired on ABC. It premiered on September 24th, 1991. Ended April 26th, 1993. It ran for 2 seasons, 42 episodes. The theme song was from Accentuate the Positive, and that was performed by Jack Sheldon. And the composer of the theme song was Johnny Mercer. And this was set in the 40s. And the plot of the show was there were soldiers that returned home from World War II, and they dealt with their home life. And this sounds like that movie from 1946, The Best Years of Our Lives, which is a wonderful movie. I love that movie. That came out in 1946. And it sounds like that. So they had a good cast. It starred Kyle Chandler. You all know him from Early Edition. You know him from that. And let's see. And also there was Sammy Davis. Not Sammy Davis Jr. This is a woman with an eye. She was from England. Also, Ken Jenkins, you know him he was known as Dr. Bob Kelso from the TV comedy Scrubs. Also, Mimi Kennedy, she was an actress. Tammy Lauren, she's famous for that movie Wishmaster, with that scary genie. Ugh. Also, there was David Newsom. Let's see, Wendy Phillips, Kelly Rutherford. Do you remember her from Melrose Place? And I forgot what other show she was in. Yeah. There was also in the cast was John Slattery, which you remember him from Mad Men and Desperate Housewives. So it was a very good, this was a very popular show. Not very, ratings wise, no, but it was It was wonderful. People still talk about it to this day. I've seen that on social media. They love this show. And Dear Abby and other people wanted the show to continue. They wrote into ABC, please let it continue, let it stay. It didn't work. It was canceled. So right now I'm going to play the theme song for Homefront, the 1991 series.
You got to accent, punctuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith or pandemonium, liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, the way, no way beyond. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Ma'am, they said you got to ask them. You ain't the positive, eliminate the negative, and last on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Homefront. It's not on DVD. I wish it was. I remember watching the show. It was pretty good. It was. I liked it a lot. And let's see. So, and it aired in syndication for a while, and then it was called. I don't know if you remember the network called the American Life TV Network. It aired there, so that was good, and hopefully they'll come back. I really would. I would hope it would come back. Okay, next up we have from the 2000s is The Lone Gunmen. So this was a spinoff from The X-Files, which I love. I love the show, and they were the Lone Gunmen were a trio of characters. I'll read off the name. One was Richard Ringo Langley, Melvin Frokel, and John Fitzgerald Byers. And they appeared on the X-Files many times, and I don't know. Their characters are very intriguing, and they caught on with fans, and they were described as countercultural patriots and conspiracy theorists, like we have today. So, and they were also computer hackers, and they always assist the characters Fox Mulder and Scully, Agent Scully, and but sometimes they had their own adventures on that, and let's see. So the show premiered. Let's see, when did it premiere? I'm not sure. Just a moment, please. I'll get it. Here we go. It premiered on March 4th, 2001. Ended June 1st, 2001. For 13 episodes. And it was part of the X-Files franchise, and it was a good show, but I don't know. I guess people didn't want to watch it anymore. In the pilot episode, they had something very scary, kind of eerie. They aired where this is before the September 11 attacks, on the World Trade Center, and there were some members of the U.S. government, and they were bad guys, and they had tried to hijack a airline airline departing from Boston, and they're planning to crash it at the World Trade Center. And so they let some terrorist group take the credit and to gain support for a new Cold War. So they tried to foil it, but that was too scary. So I never saw the episode. I want to, because I want to get this on DVD someday and watch it, because I have the X-Files on Blu-ray and it looks gorgeous. It really was. And right now I'm going to play the theme song, and then when I get back, I will talk about the characters in the show. Okay, so sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for The Lone Gunmen. I'm going to read off the characters and who played. John Fitzgerald Byers was played by Bruce Harwood. Melvin Frokel was portrayed by Tom Braidwood, and Richard Ringo Langley was played by Dean Haglund. And others in the cast was Eve Adele Harlow, played by Zuleika Robinson. She was the femme fatale, and sometimes she works for them, but you can't be trusted. It was revealed that her name was an anagram for Lee Harvey Oswald, and also there was Jimmy Bond, played by Stephen Sneddon. He was in the show as well. So that lasted about 13 episodes, and then they also, after the show was canceled, they appeared on an X-Files episode called "Jump the Shark," and then I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen the show. They were killed off. So, but they were very reliable to Mulder and Scully. Like that. So, like I said before, I will probably buy the show on DVD. I hope it's still available. So, and that'd be great. Okay. So right now, the last show I would talk about, this is from the 2010s, is Are You There, Chelsea? And this was a sitcom. It only lasted 12 episodes. It was released on January 11th, 2012, ended March 28, 2012. It was there and it was gone. 30-minute sitcom, aired on NBC. And the cast was, let me talk about the plot. The plot was based on a book written by comedian Chelsea Handler. And it's based on some stories of her life when she was in her early 20s. And the cast was Laura Prepon. You remember her from that 70s show. Also in The Orange is the New Black. She was in that show as well. Also Jake McDormand. He was another one-hit wonder. It was called Limitless. It was on CBS. And also there was Lauren Lapkus. She was a comedian. And she was also in The Orange is the New Black. In Orange is the New Black. She was on there as well. And also Lenny Clark. He was in a sitcom called Lenny. And I'm going to talk about that someday, but unfortunately he passed away. And let's see, others was Ali Wong. She was a comedian. Also, Mark Povinelli. He was just a movie. He was just an actor in movies and TV. Also recurring in the cast, also Chelsea Handler was in the show. Not every show, but she was in there. She played a character called Sloane Bradley. She played in that. I saw maybe one episode, and s- let's see. So right now I'm going to play the theme song real quick. It's very quick. It's like a few seconds. So when I come back, I'll talk a little bit more of the show. Okay, so sit back and enjoy. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for "Are You There, Chelsea?" It was very brief, very quick. Um, let's see. They started doing this a year before, and then I don't know. They had some problems like that, and also on the show was comedian Joe Coy. He played a bartender where he worked, and believe it or not, he's a stand-up comic, and he was romantically involved with Chelsea Handler, but I heard they broke up. But they did star in the show together. And then, but it didn't work very well. So, which was a shame because of that. And so I remember watching the show, and it was funny. It was okay. And then let's see what else. So they premiered on the show, and it was on Wednesday nights, and it was on another sitcom called Whitney, if you remember that one. And it starred Whitney Cummings, another comedian like that. So that sitcom lasted a little longer. So that's they in the 2010s you don't find many sitcoms or like these days you have a show and the audience is in there and out you know so and the title is a take on author Judy Blume's "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." Yeah, and it also this was based this is part of Chelsea Handler's life in her early 20s, but it's based on her book from 2008, and it was called "Are You There, Vodka? It's Me, Chelsea." I've seen her on talk shows, and she had her own talk show. She's funny. She's a funny woman. It's kind of strange sometimes. But she seems angry all the time. Not very. I don't know. Like she has a chip on her shoulder. She got to relax. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this show. I will do so I'm going to do a wrap up right now. Okay. So, here we go. From the 1950s, I discussed the TV show Racket Squad. From the 1960s, Mrs. G Goes to College. From the 1970s, Curiosity Shop. From the 1980s, Aloha Paradise. From the 1990s, Homefront. From the 2000s, The Lone Gunmen. And 2010, Are You There, Chelsea? So I want to apologize. I was going to broadcast this last week, but something came up. So I'm doing this today, thank God. So I'll have another episode. That will be episode 14, probably next week. And once this show becomes available, you can listen to any podcast that is available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify. Also, I have a YouTube channel called TV Oblivion, the podcast. Also, I'll post this on my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. You can click on that. It'll take you right to the episode. So this is Speak Astonish, your host for TV Oblivion, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I had a wonderful time. I had fun. This was interesting. Okay, and so I will sign off. And right now we will play the Pick and Pluck song that I always play. So long, everybody, and take care.